Hello and welcome, Amanda here with Crafting with Amanda. And today I have 2 hops that I am meeting the requirements for with one layout. So let's get started. I found this photo. The prompt for one of the groups was Let It Snow. And I found this photo of our oldest and a friend, and they had gone skiing with their class. And then the next weekend, my husband took them skiing again. But at the end of the day, they were done skiing and they wanted to do some tubing. So that's what that photo is. And I apologize for the glare. I am working on my lights. And the pile on the left here that you're seeing, these are all the leftovers that I have from the Close to My Heart pack Winter Wonderland, just Wonderland. And I had cut this tree out for a different layout. If you haven't seen that layout, I will put a link up here in the corner for you. But I have the stickers left, and as you saw, I didn't have one sheet of full paper left. So for Baby Got Scraps, that's their requirement, is you can only have one full sheet of 12 by 12, and in this case, I'm going to use it as my base. And then I had cards that I was making from this kit well back in the end of November. So that's what those pages were. And for a different layout, I did the splatter technique with the acrylic paint on this black cardstock, so it was also in the pack, and I decided that I really liked that kind of splattered snow effect, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just trying to figure out if I want a white mat also on this photo before I put it on the black, and I decide yes, that's exactly what I want to do. So here I am grabbing it's called my neutral envelope of all my cardstock scraps. I have my cardstocks, there's like 5, I think, different envelopes, and they're in color order. So all my blues are together, greens are together, and they're not necessarily listed by color or manufacturer. If it's a scrap of paper and it meets the color requirement, it goes in there. So I just grabbed a piece of white cardstock and I'm gonna mat it, and I realized that the date is on the back of this photo. So you'll see here that I'm gonna grab a piece of paper and a pencil and just write that date down, because you would think in the time that it took me to make this layout, I would be able to remember March of 2018 or 2014, excuse me. But I don't always. So having that piece of paper there just allows the distractions of kids, family, life, phones not inhibit me or prevent me from putting the right date down. So here, like I said, I really wanted these splatters to show, so I was careful of where I placed it, and then I measured how far it was from the top to the white mat, and then I can cut it the same distance for the other 2 sides. So now that's done. I love this photo, by the way. And then I'm trying the different papers that I have left and the different snowflakes that I had cut from a different Let It Snow layout. And so these are all left over from that. And it's funny, I'm putting these down and okay, this is looking good. And then I'm trying to decide, do I want to do some snow hills in the back with a sponging technique where you rip paper to make it look like cascades of snow, or do I want to go to the Cricut and actually cut some, hills for this tubing? And I actually went on the Cricut one night and I had pulled the goggle image and some Let It Snow, I think, sign, or enjoy this. There was, several images that I had picked, and the next morning when I got up, I wasn't feeling it. So then we're back to, the square one of, all right, well, how are we going to just use the scraps? So as you can see, I'm trying the snowflake pieces all around in different configurations. Our daughter's jacket is purple, so that's why these are done in the wisteria cardstock. Again, it was left over from a previous layout, but I just thought it worked. And then the snow pants are pink and Novi's in blue, and so at one point I thought I'd use the sapphire blue glitter paper, but that wasn't working, and then I needed something to kind of bridge it from the top to the bottom, and then I decided I needed more inspiration. So I went and got my Love of Color book, and this is from Close to My Heart, and it just is a guide for color combinations. Like if in your photo you know that you needed to match something, let's say that purple jacket, you can go in the Love of Color book and look up grape, and it'll give you color combinations that should work. Well, instead of using it for color combinations, I'm using it almost as a sketch jumping off point. So as you can see on the left hand side, I'm trying to kind of mimic the shapes, the patterns that are on this card that's in the lower right of that color or that page from Love of Color. And I'm trying different, the holographic paper, again, left from a previous layout. I love the little banners that are sticking up out of the top of the sentiment on the inspiration piece. So that it's like, okay, now I feel like I have a direction and I'm going, but I need to find this strip that kind of anchors everything. I don't know if you have that feeling on some of your layouts that just sometimes they're floating or this element isn't touching something else, and it needs to get connected, and your eye, instead of being soothed and brought into the photo, is a little more jumbled all over the place. So I'm really trying to make the focus the photo, but also tell the story, create some embellishments, and use up these scraps. Because I don't know about you, I have tons of old paper packs that need to be used up. So now there was circles from something else. I'm looking at the sticker sheet now, and just seeing what I can use. I need a title, I need a place for my journaling, and then I need to embellish. That to me are the keys at this point. And I know if it bothers you, I apologize. I am very particular. I'm such a visual person that I really need to make sure that all the elements are going to work together correctly. And so I'll move a paper just a slight bit to make sure that it works in my dry fitting process. And that's just me. Other people I see, they're just like, oh yeah, this is the general idea. I'll get it, sorted out later for the correct way. And I'm in awe when people do that. I need to see that it's going to work first before I glue it down, or if I need to swap it out with something else. Or my concern with the zip strip that I'm putting from left to right was that it wasn't wide enough, that I needed something more substantial. But as you see, I'm proceeding now, and I'm going to I'm going to tape these banners together into a nice little vignette, and then I will have those to tuck behind the photo. And there's not a lot of the green or glacier color in this photo, so that's why I tucked it behind on the banners. But I loved the hats, the snow hats coming out on that mulberry pink paper. So I'm feeling this now. It's funny how sometimes you can just go from I'm not inspired, you find your inspiration piece, and then it all just comes together. It just works for you. So for me, getting out my Love of Color book and finding just the right sketch, I'll call it. It's not a sketch, but my inspiration piece. And I'm just trying to make sure that on my piece that goes from left to right, I want it to hide the bottom corner of this town scene. So I'm making sure that it's angled a little bit, and that corner is hidden by the 1/2-inch zip strip. And so there's just a lot of components that are coming together at once. And then I realized when I glued or tacked my base down to my Versamat, because I used that kind of as a ruler, I didn't get it straight, or it had been moved. So as you saw, I pulled that up and re-put that back down again. And now again, I have these tags and embellishments that were cut for cards that I was doing end of November, and they have the right colors and they're gonna work, and I can use those for writing my journaling too. This is all the things that are going through my head. This tag says, "You are so awesome," and they are. These kids always had fun together. When Novi was over at our house, it always felt like the house was collapsing around us. They would jump and run, and they just had a really good time. And we were on a farm, and so we would send them out into the yard, and they would be playing over by the grain bins. And different times of year there was a moat around the grain bins, and thankfully Novi's parents were pretty good about, yeah, we're gonna send them home dirty but well worn out, and they were fine with that. I pulled this snow fun off of the sticker sheet, and it was just perfect for this layout. I really love the stickers because so many times I'm able to find a title that'll work with the photos that I have, and it just makes scrapbooking easy. And that's the one thing that I like when my colors and inks and cardstock all coordinate. And then with the Close to My Heart cardstock especially, the one side is the base color, but the back side of it is a lighter version of that same base color. So you get a two-fold look in one piece of cardstock. So for me, it's a no-brainer, and it makes it easy. And I had forgotten to glue that circle down before I put the sticker down, but as you saw, I corrected that. So now I'm just going to glue down the snowflakes. It's funny that I started with them, but I wasn't feeling it, and then now they're just another layer on this layout, almost in the same spots that I had them originally, but I needed to have the other papers on it. So I'm going to pop up the top of this little tag so that it just looks like it's at an angle. And again, I'm putting it so that, I don't know if you've noticed, but on that zip strip that goes from left to right, that's kind of my grounding spot. So things are touching that. If they're not touching the edge, they're touching that, or they're touching something that is touching that. So it's all kind of the grounding line in the composition of this layout. And I'm adding more glue to my snowflake, and it's kind of cool. I had to refill my glue bottle again. I love the smaller glue bottle. It's nice, it's easy on my hands. I can refill it all the time, but every time I empty it, I feel like, wow, I must have been doing a bunch of stuff. I've gotten some things done, so it was exciting to have to refill that. And I don't know if you're familiar with jewel pickers. I do have to say that this one, it's like a wax pencil, but it's a longer than pencil wax crayon, and it's not a crayon, it's a pencil, but you sharpen it with a pencil sharpener, and it just works so well. It's from Close to My Heart. For $5.95 you get 2 of them, and I've had this for 4 months now, and I haven't had to resharpen it. The only thing that I've ever done is if I've gotten glue on the tip, I just rub it kind of on the palm of my hand to wipe it off and go to the next project. So my one tip for this particular jewel picker, and it didn't work with my other jewel picker, is that you pick up the sequins in this case and then you just roll it off. And when I tried to do that with the other jewel pickers, I ended up rolling it into the glue more, and then it wasn't coming off the end. So this one, this waxy, just works really well for me. So that's my mini commercial for this this layout process. And these little sparkles are snowflakes, and they're not showing as vibrant as they are in real life. In real life, they really draw your page. I kind of had them cascading from the top left kind of down to the bottom middle, or maybe just right of middle. So here I did my journaling, and I just basically talked about how Abra and Novi always had fun together and really enjoyed hitting the tubing runs, and they did not want to go home, but within 5 minutes of getting into the car and coming home, they were out. And I'm sure if you have kids or grandkids that you've experienced that they're, no, we're gonna play, we're having fun, no, we're not tired, but as soon as they get their snow gear off and they're warm in the car, they're out. And again, I'm just going back to my sticker sheet, and I'm finding these winter magic and remember this phrases, adding them to the layout. I think it just adds more to it. I put my date on it of March 2014. Now you can see the close-ups of this. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, here's a chance for you to do that now. Here's another video that you may be interested in, and I hope you have a blessed day. Be sure to check out both the hoppers in that scraps and the paper crafter YouTube hop. Enjoy. Blessings.